Whoa, Reach Over Culture podcast. We are back with another one. Thanksgiving week episode. We are here.
Yes, sir.
Trying to end off season 3 with a bang. With a bang bang. You heard? Whoa. Get my sound bites together. Shout out to all our first time listeners, man. If this is your first time listening, welcome to the Reach Over Culture podcast. It is Roc. My co-host, my guy, Moses. We call him Moises, but he Moses because he split the C. You heard? How you feeling?
Good.
Cool. Shout out to you if this is your first time listening, man. Shout out to you if you've repeated listener. You know, shout out to y'all. I want to give a hand clap of praise to y'all. Loyal ones. Shout out to everybody. If you're just now following us on Instagram, you know, subscribe to the Apple Podcasts, Spotify Music, Amazon Music, Deezer. We distribute it a lot of places. iHeartRadio. Wherever you're getting your podcast at. And if you're looking at us on YouTube, stop what you're doing right now. Subscribe to us. Hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment, rate, review. We starting to get we got like another comment the other day. It was the episode I did with my mom. Mm-hmm. And this dude commented, he was upset. Like, I'm convinced he was kind of upset because he was just like, oh, another black woman spewing this BS about black women not being protected.
Oh,
it was kind of crazy. But hey, at least I know you watched.
Yeah, I know. At least you watched through it.
Hey man, listen, if we are horrible, if this podcast sucks, man, let me know something. Yeah. I ain't mad at that.
I mean, he gave you some feedback.
Feedback, baby. Hey, feedback is all, at this moment in time, all feedback is good feedback. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, dislike the video, whichever which way. Just make sure you act accordingly, support accordingly. Shout out to everybody that's been rocking with us. Shout out to all of our sponsors. No time to really get into all of those, but nonetheless, shout out to my people's town, Dizzy. Shout out to the whole. Now, if you're interested in sponsoring the show, make sure you reach out at reachoverculture@gmail. We are going to be in a situation where we're reforming and realigning sponsors and different things like that as we're wrapping up season 3, heading into season 4 next year. A lot of new changes, new developments that we're working on. So pray for us. You know, as we continue to lay some of this groundwork. But season 3, we only got a few episodes left, man. I mean, I said it last episode. Hey, after the next few episodes is a dub, you know. But it's been good, though. It's been a good season. I added my mans. You know, Rob was a part early in the season. He is coming back before the season is over. And don't, you know, count us out. You know, we got a couple of more lives. We might have a nice finale. With the same people that we started with. So, but shout out to you, man. Jumping right into it. Questions that need answering. All right. You ready? If you could be a part of any TV family, which one would you be a part of?
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Typical. Yep. Why would you be a part of that one?
Because, I mean,
because you realize there were no Hispanic people in that.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking about George Lopez. But I was like, no, I wouldn't be part of that family because it seems like they're always arguing. It's in California. It's Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. They got a nice house.
Word.
They got, you know, Carlton, the goofy one, and they got the sister. I forgot her name.
Which one? There's a couple of them.
Oh, there's two. Dude.
Hillary. Yeah, Hillary, and you had the younger one.
Yeah, man, what's her name?
Bruh, you're not gonna give me the question how much I know Fresh Prince. You had
I'm just saying,
Hillary and Ashley.
It's a unique family. They all got types of different characters. I mean, you got a busboy with you. I mean, I don't know. It's come cool, and it's a good storyline.
Word, okay.
And especially the culture that we're living in and the time, just nostalgic.
All right, I like that. What year were you born?
97.
Oh man, dang. Shout out to everybody born in 92 and below. So shout out to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to y'all. Real 90s babies. You hear me? Because Fresh Prince was damn near canceled by the time you was born. So it's kind of crazy that you would go with that one.
Yeah.
But you know what? I ain't mad at that. I am going to go with. This isn't going to be politically correct because I had an answer. I'm going to stick with my answer. I'm going with the Cosby Show. All right. Now, I don't know Bill Cosby. I don't know that guy. I know Cliff Huxtable. And I don't know Bill Cosby, man. I don't know that guy. I can't attest for that guy. I can't speak for that guy. I can only speak for Cliff Huxtable, the person that I saw on television. Even though that show is still before my time, it's not an episode of the Cosby Show that I have not seen. It's one of my favorite shows. It is up there, probably second or third. Martin's the top one, but the Cosby Show, I would definitely be a part of that TV family. You got a successful doctor, a successful lawyer. Kids are challenged to go to school, go to college, but also challenged to live in their own individuality. You know, you had a woman that went to school for being a doctor. You had a chick that dropped out, married the Marines. You had a son that went on to be a teacher. Really, in essence, none of the kids on that show went on to be as successful per se as their parents. Or didn't even look like they were on a track to, because most of them kept coming back to the house. But it just shows that, just because your dad's a doctor don't mean you got to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Or just because your mom's a lawyer doesn't mean you got to be a lawyer. They push individuality as well as working hard. And Cliff Huxtable is just a dope dad. I mean, he one of them dads that didn't really have to put his hands on you in order for you to get the point. Just the mere fact that you disappointed him was, and I would have loved to kind of live in a household like that, because in my household, it was hands first. Then we talk about how you disappointed me. In my house, it was a pop, pop, you know what I'm saying? Then we talk about, man, you disappointed me. I had to, like, sheesh. Shout out to my Duke. Shout out to Pops. You know what I mean? Shout out to all the black kids that know what I'm talking about. But shout out to all the kids in general. You don't got to be, right. It's definitely more prevalent in one culture than it is the other. You know, I come from the era of pop, pop, pop. Then let's talk about what you did wrong, not what you did wrong. And if you do it again, then pop, pop. You know, it's pop, pop, pop. You know what I'm saying? You heard me? So, yeah, Cosby Show. Any new artists you checking out right now? You looking at? Put us up on some game, man. You don't know this about Moses. Moses is real heavy into the music. Not gonna hold you. He listens to almost everything, pretty much everything. So Moses, let us know about an artist that you listening to right now that the people may or may not know about right now.
I think Motel Fish is good.
Okay.
I went to his concert recently. It's pretty good. I didn't know who he was.
Right.
But then I listened to some of his music. And I'm like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
It's Christian music, but it's like an R&B type of music. Like, oh man, how could I compare it to? It's like, oh man, I don't know how to compare it to, but it's like real chill R&B music. It's not very churchy. Right. So the lyrics are real. He's talking about being saved and the stuff he's going through. And he's just real honest and humble about what he sings about. Yeah. He's really good. I like him. I don't know much people know about Omar Apollo. Have you heard of him?
That's why this is your segment, baby. Put us on.
Omar Apollo. I mean, this is just culture music, but Omar Apollo is like a really famous Mexican American who recently is getting really famous. He's like kind of like underground. He's really heavy on electric guitar, and he sings. He's like very poppy and indie. It's very different, when I hear an artist that's like really different, I can tell. It's kind of like a Frank Ocean type of vibe.
Shout out to Frank.
Yeah. That's something that's worth checking out. He's got some really good music.
Is he into the same thing that Frank into?
A little bit. They got the same type of sound to it.
No.
What do you mean? Oh, like
Yeah.
no.
All right, cool. I'm glad you caught that. I'm glad I had to.
I mean, on his album cover, like he's like, it's weird. He's like in the bath. That's like purple, and he's like got purple hair. He's got a guitar in him while he's like in the pool.
He might.
It's a little fruity, but it's not like that. I don't think so. No,
because you kind of describe it. It's a little fruity. You kind of. This is no offense to everyone. So, do you know who Steve Lacy is?
Mm-mm.
So Steve Lacy is one of the artists. He's a part of the band The Internet. The Internet used to be a part of Our Future until that broke up.
Oh.
But he's the guitarist for The Internet. But he actually has his own individual music, Fire. But yeah, he like takes his artistry and his pictures are like that, like he just guitar, real Prince like style type stuff. And so I'm not gonna hold you. I'm probably not gonna go listen to him.
Yeah,
but if you vouch it for him, I know he gotta be good because I trust your taste in music. And shout out to Montel Fish. Montel Fish actually followed us on Instagram at one point in time. He unfollowed us, probably because we didn't hit him with the follow back, probably because the content. But Montel Fish, man, holla at us.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you on the show. My man went to the show with you, because he was with Holland, right?
Yeah.
And shout out to Holland as well. Follow us back, man. We're going to be reaching out to you soon, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll hit you with the follow back. My man's vouched for you. You know what I mean? My apologies. I ran that system. I failed. Follow us, man. Hit us with the follow back, bro. But shout out to Montel Fish, though, man. I mean, next time he in the town, we'd definitely like to meet him and link up with him. Yeah. Cool. So Montel Fish and
Omar Apollo.
Okay, cool. I don't have any new artists that you can look out for. I'll really be stuck on the same artists.
Like who?
So you got Apple Music?
No, I use Spotify. You don't use Spotify?
No. I mean, but fair enough. But yeah, so Apple Music has this feature where they actually make you a playlist of your top
most listen.
Yeah, most listen.
Yeah. Spotify
does that?
Yeah.
But so I got the list for 2020, and the Spotify also show you your top listened artists
in the year.
Yeah, like who you listen to the most this year.
Yeah.
Who was yours?
On Spotify? Like Maluma.
Who?
Maluma, it's a reggaeton artist. I was in his top 1%.
But I'm saying, like, who was your top listen to artist? Like, who did you listen to the most?
In 2019?
20.
20?
Yeah. For this year.
I haven't got that report yet. It usually comes out in December. I haven't got that yet.
Shout out to Apple Music. Yo, we got ours already. Yeah. Yeah, this year, I mean, it's been like this for every year since I've had Apple Music. Juicy Drake was number one.
Wait, does it tell you how much hours you listen?
Yeah.
How much?
I think it was like 65 hours of Drake.
Oh, that's weak.
Now listen.
That's weak.
No. But hey, check it. I didn't listen to a lot of music this year.
Okay. That's fair.
Right? But like last year, it was almost 200 hours of Drake. Last year was crazy. But this year was like a representation of the fact that I did not listen to a lot of music this year. But looking at that list is really, that list tells you where you were for the year. I was in my feelings a lot this year because my top 4 artists, it was Drake. Shout out to P, Paris Perez, he was the second one. And then it was Snow Allegra.
Oh yeah.
A lot of Snow Allegra this year. And a lot of her this year as well.
Yeah. I stay away from that.
You know what I'm saying? I was in my mood. 2020 was a mood year. You know what I'm saying? If you know, you know. But yeah, so but it's a representation of, because even my list that they made, that's been the only thing I've been playing. So I'm just replaying a bunch of songs I've been playing all year. I got hip to a couple of nice new artists, not newer, but this artist named Judo. He's pretty cool. Who else did I get hip to? I mean, I really just started listening to Snow Allegra this year. So I'm just really getting hip hip to her. There's a couple of more, man. No Name from Chicago. She's dope. But yeah, other than that, Drake, Drake, Jay, a lot of Jay-Z this year. I mean, somewhat a lot of Jay-Z. Wayne, her, Charlotte Day Wilson is somebody that a lot of people still don't know about, but she's fire. Charlotte Day Wilson, go listen to her. A lot of the internet this year as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't really got any like new breakout artists besides Judo. Judo's fire. It's Juto. Judo's fire. Yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the artists that got. Shout out to my dog Rob. My dog Rob will be back soon. You heard? Shout out to Rob. We will get him. Shout out to my boy. My goddaughter just recently had her first birthday. Shout out to you, baby. Shout out to you. Paul Rand, love you. Benji, I'm watching you. But yeah, when he comes back, we'll talk more about the NBA restart. NBA's restarting on December 22nd. We'll talk more about that when he comes back, as well as football and all that. You know what I'm saying? A sports podcast is coming from Reach Over Culture in 2021. We are going to start to make that happen. Reach Over Culture, as it's turning into a media group, will be launching a movie and a sports podcast in 2021. If you're interested in being a part of either one of those podcasts, who have names that I will not mention yet, because people like to bite ideas. They have concepts. We got scheduling. We got times. We got the whole nine. If you are interested, make sure you hit us up at reachoverculture@gmail.com. Hit us up at reachoverculture@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram or other social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and let us know if you're interested in being part of one of those two podcasts. And so we'll have a whole separate podcast for sports. You know, I got some people it's pretty funny. It's gonna be pretty litty. We got a whole plan. All right, so this Thanksgiving, if you're sitting around with your family, also happy Thanksgiving to you. Make sure you get where you're going safely, coming from where you're coming from safely. Everybody's dispersing their Black Friday deals around, the week. So you shouldn't be out there trying to murk each other for something on Black Friday. Keep the peace. There's enough division out in the world. But if you're sitting around with your families, shout out to you. If you're traveling, if you're listening to us on the car, on the way to whatever, shout out to you. Much love. But this podcast, I wanted to get into something. I wanted to talk about something. Just recently, Pastor Carl Lentz was released from his duties at Hillsong Church. Now, if you don't know who Pastor Carl Lentz is, Pastor Carl Lentz is a pastor of Hillsong, New York City. He's pretty well known. He's one of the more well-known pastors. You might have seen him in pictures with KD, J.R. Smith. He's cool with Justin Bieber. He's out on the scene in different secular, spectrums. And he's pretty famous. Pretty famous dude, especially within the Christian world, definitely in the secular world, in some form or fashion. He's been on the Breakfast Club, etc. Well, he was just recently released from his job at Hillsong NYC. Hillsong did put out a statement saying that they released him from his job at Hillsong. I'm not gonna read the statement. And he also came out on his Instagram and posted a full statement saying that he was released from his job at Hillsong. Hillsong actually introduced it as moral failure, but he came out and said, I was unfaithful in my marriage. And to paraphrase, pretty much said I was depleted in my spirit. I didn't go to the accountability that I had in place, and I tried to do everything out of my own will, and I failed. Mm-hmm. And the chick that he had a affair with, she also did an interview that I didn't watch, but paraphrasing from what I understand, apparently it was for 5 months, and they had met each other, and she knew he was married as and the third. None of that matters. What matters is that Pastor Carl Lentz gets the help that he needs so that he can be a better man for himself, for the people that engage with him, that follow him, and for his family, first and foremost, for his wife, for his kids. We're praying for you, man. We hope that you come out on the other side of this better than you went into the situation. Everybody has stumbling blocks. Everybody is prone and exposed, and everybody can fall.
Yep.
Not one single person is exempt from what, life tempts us with. And so, besides all the semantics of what is and what didn't happen and the details of it, because this is also coming some months after Pastor John Gray publicly went through his came out publicly one Sunday and pretty much stated that he had an emotional affair with somebody outside of his marriage. Mm-hmm. After that, already hit the blog sites, and this is like, the second or third time that this is being exposed. And so he came out one Sunday and actually spoke about it. And apparently he sat down for some weeks to get himself together and just to continue to work on his marriage. But my point, Mo, is that I want to talk about celebrity pastors, because both of these guys would be what we would deem as celebrity pastors. Both of these guys have been on the Breakfast Club. Both of these guys have been in different circles, whether it's Oprah Winfrey or CNN or, basketball players or movie stars. Both of these guys have an influence in the secular world just as much as they have an influence in the Christian world. And what I want to talk about is celebrity pastors. Now, we live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. All right. Both of us have attended Transformation Church. Right. Shout out to P. Mike. Just celebrated a birthday. Just came out with a couple of singles. Shout out to you. Your own shout. You hurt? He would be what people deem as a celebrity pastor now. Right.
Yeah.
He's done it all. He's got a #1 selling book, millions of views on YouTube, 1 million followers on Instagram. He's been on the Breakfast Club. His sneaker game is crazy. He's been put on different sneaker Instagram sites, Preachers and Sneakers. Shout out to y'all. I see y'all. And he's a topic of discussion when you're talking about people in the faith. So with us, going to church and serving under him in some form of capacity, what's one pro and one con of having a celebrity pastor?
Having celebrity pastor as your pastor, or as
just as a pastor, or just in general. Like, it doesn't matter. Same thing.
Oh, the pros of you being a celebrity pastor is you have more of an audience you can speak to. You have a bigger voice. Mm-hmm. That's the pros of it. You can really, really be used by God, right, if you obey and you're guided by Him. The cons is, you're a celebrity. You're gonna be treated like every other celebrity. If you do wrong, they're gonna call you out. If you can't go anywhere out with your family, people are gonna come left and right to ask for a picture. Your life is not really private. You can hide so much what you can control, but you really can't really have a private life.
Yeah,
it's just something that you just it's just a burden that you're just gonna have to deal with. But I think honestly, it could be a lot for being a pastor. It's, celebrity status.
Now, do you have a pro and a con for attending a church with a celebrity pastor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The pros is there could be a lot of opportunity in that church for you as a member, because this is a celebrity pastor. A lot of people are going to come from all over the country to come here, so you're going to meet some cool people. You're going to have some connections, and it's a pool of opportunities. And the cons is you don't really have an intimate relationship with your pastor like you would have like at a smaller church that I did. The church I grew up at. You know, I know my pastor. His name's Pastor David. I have his number. I call him whenever just to talk. I go for him to guidance. You know, he's like my like spiritual father.
Yeah.
So that's really the cons. I mean, I would love to talk to Pastor Mike. I would love to be like, hey, bro. I mean, I need some help in this area.
Right.
That's really the cons. You don't really have like a natural relationship with him, but that's really much it. I mean,
no, that's good. Those are good. Because I agree with attending the. I mean, what you said speaks to how a lot of people feel about having a celebrity pastor, just having a pastor that happens to be a celebrity. Me having served under P. Mike's leadership, you know, for a number of years, and the people I came up with, if that's one thing I've heard as far as a complaint with his new status is that he's not as accessible as he used to be. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And trust me, he wasn't super accessible back then either. Like he's always been on the go, always been a busy man. But you know, the fact that you may or may not even get to talk to him on a Sunday to Sunday basis, like you would back in the day, which was 4 or 5 years ago. But that's one thing that, you know, a lot of people that came up with me under his leadership lament is that he's not as accessible as he used to be. Me, I'm not necessarily mad at it because I understand that comes with it. Especially with him, like, if you kind of knew, you knew. I don't know about a lot of my other peers, but I always saw him being this. Like, as soon as I got into a space where I wanted to do ministry, and I got hip to the Rich Wilkersons and the Carl Lentz and people that was growing in secular influence along with their Christian along with their influence with believers, I knew that P. Mike would be one of those guys eventually one day, because he was just so different than what a lot of other people were doing. He's been that way. Mm-hmm. And so I anticipated it like, yo, bro's not going to be able to be the guy that y'all want him to be. I didn't know it would happen this quick, but I knew eventually like he would get to this. I had a feeling that he would eventually get to this space that he's at right now. But that's good. That's good of what you said. One pro, one con of being a celebrity pastor from what I can see. The pro is, like you said, influence. Mm. Your influence expands outside of the believer's circle. When you get influence in Hollywood and in the sports world and political influence is then the third, you want to be at some of those tables to offer to, you know, the perspective. We just got done with an election, and everybody's concerned with their group. Black people are concerned about how these two people that's trying to win an election are going to help me and my people. Mm-hmm. Right. You know, when you're talking about launching new companies and companies partnering with other companies, how many seats do we get at the table? Mm. You know, how big of a voice do we play in what happens in culture? And when you have a celebrity pastor, quote unquote, you get a person that believes what you believe and also is able to provide perspective. So to do what we want to do, which is partner faith and culture, mm-hmm. right? Same Romans 12, same thing. Not to be conformed, you know, to the patterns of this world, but the renewing of but to still to bridge the gap, because there is a gap between cultural and faith-based. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people get tripped up trying to mix them. You know, it's like you bridge the gap so we can come to some understanding, but you don't like necessarily mix the two fully. Yeah. You know what I mean, you don't make it 50-50, because then one of them got to overtake the other one. You know what I mean? Instead of just bridging the gap. So I believe a celebrity pastor has the ability to bridge the gap between culture, you know, whatever culture, you know, secularly has to offer versus what believers are trying to live in, which is to be Christ-like. You know what I mean? Because we got to be in this culture, but we got to be Christ-like in this culture as well, which is extremely, extremely difficult. Yeah. But celebrity pastors give us a voice and are here to say that, yo, we not judgmental and we're not here to send people to hell, and we're not here, if you got the right pastor that's of influence. If that makes sense. But the influence is definitely a pro. The con is like, they don't get to be human. Yeah. Celebrity pastors don't get to be human. They already are under a microscope in their own church. Now you are under a microscope in culture in general. And so when you have a situation like a Pastor Carl Lentz, who's been influential with athletes in the NBA, Justin Bieber, who's one of the biggest pop stars ever. I don't know what their personal relationship looks like with Carl Lentz, but now you get a kid like Justin Bieber who hasn't switched his image a full 180, but it's about 80-degree difference. Yeah. Where you're making songs like Holy, right? He's promoting monogamy between him and his wife, which is totally different than the kid you saw 3 years ago. Yeah, that comes from influences, you know, spiritually guided by people like a Carl Lentz and a Judah Smith and people and Rich Wilkerson, people that he finds himself around. Now, I don't know the relationship between Justin Bieber and Carl Lentz, but I can tell you how I've seen a pastor fall and it affect people on our level. People damn near leave the faith when their local pastor falls. Because it's like, yo, if you couldn't get it right, I don't stand a chance. You're closer to God than I am. I'm coming to you almost to speak on behalf of me. Show me some stuff, right? Yeah. Christianity isn't Catholicism. Like, we don't have a priest to speak on our behalf, per se, but it's more personal. It's supposed to be about your relationship with God, not necessarily a relationship with God that somebody has for you. So if a Carl Lentz falls on this, how do I know that doesn't say to Justin Bieber, I ain't got no shot. Yeah. At some point, that's not a knock. It's just Carl Lentz unfortunately doesn't get the grace to be human, because as soon as he posts that, 50 blogs are going up on YouTube. Like, you see, we told you he was a false teacher. We told you he was a false prophet. We told you this new age Christianity doesn't work. We told you that.
Take an opportunity.
We told you that. Yeah. But also another con is, you don't really get to know full in character. Like you said, you don't have a relationship with your pastor, so you don't really get to know the character of the man. You're more detached with the character of the man than you, like, as a celebrity, than you are if you could just get to see him every Sunday. You never know if he's really showing you what he's really about, but at least you have a better opportunity when he's there Sunday to Sunday. When you're able to greet him and shake his hand and whatever Sunday to Sunday. But if you never get an opportunity to barely lay eyes on him from Sunday to Sunday unless he's on the stage, you really don't get to know the character of who you're seeing versus just who you see on stage. You really just don't get to even grasp what the character is. And so, you know, it makes things like this harder to grasp, because now it's like, I believed in this guy, and I was already kind of shaky. But you see here, this is why I don't go to church right here, because X, Y, and Z. It's not fair. It's what these guys, you know, it's what you sign up for. You know, when it comes to like a situation like this where a pastor that's well known has taken a bit of a fall, because he hasn't fallen off the face of the earth. He's, done something that's unfortunately very common in society.
Yeah.
It's not like he didn't bomb, like.
Yeah, he didn't kill anybody.
He did something that was unfortunate, but common. But it's become a spectacle. So when a celebrity pastor falls, is that more of our fault for putting them on such a pedestal to make them feel like they can't fall? Or to make them feel like or to put more added pressure? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Is it more when a celebrity pastor falls, especially in this form of fashion, is it our fault because we added so much pressure that we burst the pipe? Because we put him on this pedestal to not only represent the church in the city, but also now you representing us on a national, global scale. So now you got to be perfect.
Yeah.
Because if you're not perfect, then they look at us as the body crazy. Is it our fault because we build these guys up? We repost everything that they do. We all on the lives. We make them celebrities. We build them up in the first place.
Yeah.
So it makes it puts even more pressure on them to be perfect. Or is it simply their fault for not taking the responsibility seriously enough? If that question makes sense, which one?
I think there's a part to play in us, but I mean, he was the one that made the decision in the first place. I mean, as a leader and being such a big influencer, you just have a lot to handle.
Yeah.
It's very hard to live a perfect life whenever you're expected to, and obviously people are gonna fail, especially at the level he's at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's human just like us, and he has thoughts just like us, and temptations, and I feel like since he's such at a higher level, I feel like the devil will work twice as hard because he wants to, because he knows that this guy has a lot of favor, a lot of power, that he's gonna do twice as hard, and he's gonna set up traps. But I mean, as a leader like that, you should have some accountability and some guidance and people to have your back through that. I guess it was Volman's. But as for us, like how would you put it that way? Like if it was our fault?
I mean, yeah, like because we do add a lot more pressure to these guys. Because if because we make them to be these celebrities that they are, how? Because one thing Carl Lentz said in his Instagram caption describing the situation is that he said he didn't go to his accountability. Especially as men, right? We already have this thing where it's hard for us to trust other men with anything, especially our baggage. I can't let you know everything that I'm going through. You might use that against me later.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Being that these guys are human, it's the same form of fashion. That's why when John Gray came out about his stuff, he said the same thing. I didn't go to the accountability that was set in place for me. It's deeper than not just using accountability, I think. These guys maybe just have the normal fear that most guys do, which is if I let all my business out, tell this man all of my business, he always has one up on me.
Yeah, it's sensitive information.
Right. And so that's hard enough. Now add that you have millions of people tuning in to your every word and counting on you to be this guy. If we don't make these guys celebrities, maybe they think as normal people, which is I'm simply a normal man that needs help. Yeah. Not I'm Pastor Carl Lentz. And if anybody gets wind of this situation, hundreds of thousands of people are going to stop following Christ because I made a mistake.
Yeah.
That's what the pressure is. Like, we put pressure on these guys when we make them celebrities and we make them the final word, and we make these guys as voices bigger than God's. We put unnecessary pressure on these guys to be just perfect versions of themselves that they got to wake up and face in the morning. Mm-hmm. That they got to try to, like, when we make going to church about them, when we say out of our mouths to each other,
kind of idolizing in a way,
making them idols.
Yeah.
Well, I don't go to Transformation just to go to Transformation. I go because I like Pastor Mike.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of people only go because of Pastor Mike.
And you don't think that they hear that?
Yeah.
He hears that.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say that he likes it, because he probably doesn't. I know he doesn't.
Yeah, I know. I remember he made a whole sermon. Who's a minister?
I know he doesn't.
Want to make it clear.
That's still unnecessary pressure, because now it's like, yo, I don't like that, but now it's like, being that this person's committed to my church, I have somewhat of a responsibility to not save them, but to shepherd them. So I can't let this get out, and I can't. So to answer the question, I feel like it's a 60-40 thing.
Yeah.
60% they fault, 40% ours. When we make these guys celebrities, I feel like it's we have some accountability in that. Mm-hmm. We don't give them the space to be human. We put them on pedestals. We let them know that we come into to church to see them, not just to experience God. Mm. We leave churches when these guys fall. Mm-hmm. You
gotta have some allowance for people's faults.
We don't go to services if we know they're not speaking.
Yeah.
Like, no, I can't let you know what's going on, because you're pretty much basing your whole walk on me. And while I know it's not my responsibility that you basing your whole walk on me, I still feel the pressure to be a certain type of perfect. And it's unfair. So I feel like 40% of that is our fault.
And I feel like these people should be guides towards having a relationship with God, kind of like mentors. Because like when you have a mentor, you obviously have a mentor in a specific area you need help in. Like if you have a mentor of, like, you know, if you want to play basketball, you know.
That's what they're there for.
I mean, yeah, that's what it is. It's just a guide.
That's what they're there for.
But it's not someone you go to receive affirmation or to feel good. I mean, you get that from yourself and, you know, the relationship that you have with God. There should be no man in between you and God. It should be just you and God.
Yeah, that's what we do. We make celebrity pastors the middlemen. Mm-hmm. That's a good one. And, you know, unfortunately, this isn't a new concept. When you look at Paul wrote in Corinthians about leaders trying to be more popular than other leaders. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Paul himself you could technically see him as a celebrity pastor, right? Yeah. Jesus himself was first, but John the Baptist, even before him, drones of people would come from the east, the west, the north, and the south to hear John the Baptist predict that there was going to be somebody that was better than him.
Yeah.
So it's not a new concept, but it's not it's just something
to be aware of.
We really can't afford to do, especially with the generations that's coming behind us. It's already so misguided by everything else. Right? So, hopefully it's something that we can get under control on how we make these guys celebrities, man. Because we're putting them on pedestals and we're putting them in spaces where they can't be human. We're expecting them to be gods. Mm-hmm. God himself. And they'll never be that. They can be a voice for God. They can be a vessel for God, but they'll never be God themselves. And so with that, we are all subject to some form of fashion of falling. Now, there's some pastors that have never stepped out on their wives, never took money from the church, has done their job with 100% integrity. I'm not doubting that. Unfortunately, they're not celebrities. We don't make them celebrities. We, you know what I mean? We make the people that's trying to balance faith and culture at the same time celebrities. We make them the voices and, you know, get upset when they fail. And it's just unfair, man. We gotta stop making, you know, celebrity passes, because it just never turns out to be what you think. They never turn out to be what you think that they're gonna be, or what you need them to be, or what you want them to be. Right? You don't know a lot of these guys on a person to person level, outside of what they tell you on a Sunday to Sunday basis. You know, you can support a man without necessarily knowing everything that he's about, but you don't put him on a pedestal as if I want my man to be like Rich Wilkerson. But you don't know Rich Wilkerson from a can of paint, so why would you want you don't know that man. Yeah. And a lot of these dudes don't. Well, I don't know. You think a lot of these guys ask for it?
To be at this level? No, I think it just happens. It just happens.
A lot of these guys don't do themselves a lot of favors, though. I'm going to keep it a buck. A lot of these guys don't do themselves favors by the stuff that they wear, the cars that they drive, and how they publicize all of the things that they do that contribute to them being celebrities in the first place. Mm-hmm. Celebrities like to stunt. A lot of these guys be stunting. I'm not knocking it, but at the same time, when you feed into the giant that people are already trying to make you, I can only feel but so bad for you. Mm-hmm. You played into it. Yeah. You know, you stunted on us. You know, and I get it. Nobody should be ashamed of their blessings. I just feel personally that when you have that big of a responsibility, even if you got it, you don't show it. You just be humble. Yeah. Humility. Humble. Humility is I think is your best friend at that level. But being that I'm not at that level, I can't speak to that. Mm-hmm. But I would imagine that humility would be your best friend at that level. You know what I mean? So many things that can happen. But once again, man, prayers up to Carl Lentz. Once again, prayers up to Carl Lentz and his family. Prayers up to everybody that attends Hillsong, NYC, because they would have lines around the block to get in the door. You know, he'll bounce back from this, hopefully, prayerfully. And, we're praying for anybody that's put more stake in the people that's there to shepherd them, that's put more stake into their pastor, we're praying for anybody that's put more stake and more faith in everything into the pastor that's leading them versus the God that's leading the pastor. Mm-hmm. Save yourself the disappointment. Because if you knew half of the things that these pastors probably did when they're not on stage on Sundays, you would lose your faith. And unfortunately, that's not a fair responsibility to them. And you're not even being fair to yourself, because you're making your faith fickle. That's fickle faith, to have faith in the man versus the God that created the man. Same God that created you. So warnings and dangers against celebrity pastors. Stop making pastors celebrities. Pastors, stop feeding into the celebrities that people are trying to make you. Doesn't mean you don't live in your blessing. Doesn't mean that you don't live in your calling and your gifts. But don't stunt and don't feed into the celebrity either. You're not doing us a favor, and we not doing y'all a favor. That's my 2 cents. Moses, you got anything else, bro?
like I was saying, I feel like a lot of people would get offended. They get offended easily over celebrity pastors. We were just saying that I feel like it's much easier for a person to get offended from a celebrity pastor. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was going to say, but yeah, that's all I really was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, don't put someone on a pedestal whenever God should be on that pedestal.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. And once again, we're praying for Carl Lentz, man. Praying for him, his family, that they find restoration, that they find peace in this time, that they find healing, and that they hear the word of the Lord, that be their strength and their encouragement moving forward. They will be successful. They will successfully heal. They will successfully restore themselves, and they will be better coming out of this situation than they were going in. And that's for every pastor that may be struggling with anything in secret that we may not know in the public. Hopefully and prayerfully you get that figured out and situated before it gets exposed. We just need a new level. We need a new level of humility, not only the pastors, but as a body of Christ as well. We need to uplift these guys, not tear them down, not allow them to be human, but use wisdom and guidance. Use wisdom and guidance from the Holy Spirit, from God, and be an example of the same Jesus that wouldn't stone the adulterous woman to death. This isn't the time to throw stones. It's time to lend a hand. And hopefully he gets all the help and support that he needs. And him, as well as every other pastor that needs it at this moment in time. Because it's been a rough year, not only as a body, but these guys are stressing. They're going through a lot. You know, trying to figure out how to help you, help themselves, help their families. So shout out to all the pastors that's doing it, man. Shout out to all the pastors that's figuring it out. Stop making people celebrity pastors, you heard? Word. This is another episode of the Reach Over Culture podcast, man. Let us know what you think. You know, leave a comment, review. A little heavy on this Thanksgiving week, but hey, it is what it is, man. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in. It's Roc. Make sure you follow the Instagram at Reach Over Culture. If you interested in donate to the show or being a part of future episodes, make sure you go to at reachoverculture@gmail.com. This is Moses. What's your Instagram?
Moses X Chavez.
Moses X Chavez. This is the Reach Over Culture podcast. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. We out.